Welcome to NCPDP Unscripted, the podcast where healthcare meets real talk. Each episode, we will dive into unscripted conversations with industry leaders, changemakers, and innovators, discussing the challenges, breakthroughs, and behind-the-scenes stories you won't hear anywhere else. Whether you're on your morning commute or taking a break between meetings, settle in because it's time to get unscripted.
Well, Brian Eidex, welcome to NCPDP Unscripted. Excited to be chatting with you today.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so you and I have known each other for, I think, 3-4 years now through some of the consulting work that we did. But I know you have been a long time industry veteran and also kind of around NCPDP for many years. Can you share a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into the conversation?
Definitely, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. So I've actually been a member since 2005, which is a really long time as I started to think about it. And even before then, I was very active in NCPDP's 3.2 transaction as it was transitioning out into other transactions. But during that time, Part D was just starting to roll out in 2005. And so I was pretty active with NCPDP in formulating new uses of the E1, kind of rejuvenating the E1 transaction and defining how to do the financial reporting, all for the CMS regulations that came out. So I've been around for longer than I realized, getting a little nostalgic talking about it.
You played a role in our pharmacy product availability pilot, which was the pilot to allow pharmacy or providers to check the inventory before they sent a prescription.
Yep.
And you were the program manager, which was something new to NCPDP. I don't think we've ever done that before. So would love to kind of understand, as your role as program manager, kind of what was your involvement in the pilot and what did you do?
Yeah, it was a really neat experience. So I was officially program manager, and what that meant was really organizing and getting participants to agree to be part of the pilot. You know, because it was new, it was a lot of education, so creating a lot of educational materials, reaching out to different industry stakeholders and trying to get them excited, motivated, interested, and just aware of the pilot that was going on with the new standard. And it already had a good amount of excitement, but that's what the effort was about.
That's great. So what were some of the main goals of the pilot? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, it's really about, I would say, interoperability is the buzzword that everybody uses, but it's trying to define, the PPA, or pharmacy product availability transaction, is really a specific use case of interoperability. So it's to demonstrate that this interoperability use case made sense for the industry and how that standard would work, and to get it to kind of serve as a catalyst to get the standard used within the industry.
Okay, and it sounds like interoperability and a little bit of transparency as well, correct?
Definitely transparency to give to the, thanks for that, to give the patients information, the prescribers information, about the availability of the medication at the pharmacy. So, you know, just diving in a little bit on the specific use case, first fill is a big deal. I think it's like 20% of first fills are not picked up at the pharmacy for various reasons. And one of the major reasons is the inventory being in stock. So, you know, if you go to the pharmacy and doesn't have it in stock, then life gets in the way and sometimes you don't pick it up. And then it's also just to raise that awareness of where the drug is for drug shortages. So the FDA publishes drug shortage lists, as you're probably aware. And so when those certain drugs become difficult to access because they're, supply chain problems or whatever, having that information available to patients and prescribers becomes more and more important.
This actually started from ASTP ONC as part of the high TAC recommendations, right? We heard loud and clear from the patient advocates that there's a lot of times that they have medications that they try to pick up and it's not available. They have to get on the phone and start calling around. So
that's right.
That's really, really important.
That's right, and this is a real-time transaction. So it's not. There are a lot of systems today that, particularly in the vaccine segment, that give indicators back to patients and prescribers that pharmacy generally stocks
Yeah.
the vaccine,
Yeah.
but it's not up-to-date, accurate, up-to-date information, I should say, that gives it in real time at the point where the patient needs access to the medication.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the metrics for success and some of the findings.
Yeah, thanks. So I think we went into the pilot with really high expectations and ideal expectations, which you should in a pilot. We're going to have millions of transactions go through. Everybody's going to find time to do things, and at the end, we'll report out metrics. And we came close to that, and we had really good results. I would say at the highest level, the biggest learning is time. Giving people more time, this is not a surprise to anybody, I'm simplifying it too much, but giving people more time gets more activity in the pilot. But the metrics that we did get out of the pilot probably fall into three main categories as we started to summarize those in the findings in the final report. The first one falls into, and I'll give some goods and some bads in each one of those categories. So participant engagement. The good part is I think we did as a team, and this includes all the participants, engaging on a memorandum of understanding and putting down up front what expectations were, what we could really deliver during the pilot, and get people to commit. You know, when somebody signs, they're committing. And an organization is committing. It's not an individual relationship, it's an organization. So I think we did really well with that. Participants in NCPDP, ASTP. Some of the things that snuck up on us are the reality of commercial priorities. When you have a money-making opportunity or customer satisfaction, it becomes difficult to maintain resources on a pilot that you've committed to. Now, people, have integrity and they're holding their word, but reality hits in that situation. So that's one category is member engagement, or participant engagement, I should say. The second is, I guess you could call it implementation realities, and the implementation guide was a great deliverable from the pilot, and the NCPDP team, as always, did a great job and got kudos for the detail and the thoroughness and the formal document that was created. And people could use that, the participants could use that. So maybe on the con side of the implementation are, there were two interesting details of who's maintaining the pharmacy list. So, you've got the pharmacies signing up, and then who is making that systematically available to those that are submitting requests. And so that was identified as a topic. And then test cases. So those that are sending the transaction, how are they confident that the message that they're sending is being supported properly and that they're sending it properly? So kind of a test environment. And then the third category is really detailed at the transaction level. And there were some things like extensions are used in the standard, which means I can go outside the standard and extend the use of a field. And so that kind of threw a wrinkle into some of the implementations. And so I would say, that was probably in the transaction level. Some of the learnings that we had. So those three main categories.
Yeah, that's great. And I think you and I, as kind of product manager backgrounds, right, we know that it's either regulatory or your largest client that's screaming that, as a product person, right?
That's exactly
That's where you
right.
put your focus, so that makes sense. And I know that the time period was a little bit shorter, so I can see how people would be excited,
It
but
was.
then kind of
That's
like,
right.
okay, you have to get your development resources lined up
Right.
and all of that. So that's interesting. And I think with the implementation guide, like this is the first time NCPDP has ever kind of put that together for a pilot. So that's really interesting learnings too. I think this is something a little bit new for us.
I think so too.
Yeah, so that
Right.
was good.
And it's a draft implementation guide called the pilot version. So it is unique now that you make me think about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, you already talked a little bit about some of the challenges and the obstacles. Anything else to share on that front in terms of, to me, I just as monitoring it just really seemed like the time frame. And of course, we were limited because we did have some funding from the federal
Exactly
government.
right.
So,
So it was a little more, it is timing, and the ability to coordinate with people's schedules as a result of that timing became constrained. So I think that, a big learning of just pilots in general is get a little more coordination of timeframes.
Yeah. So what additional opportunities? I know we've kind of wrapped up. We've given the report to ASTP. I know you were involved with the, with the task group still. What's the kind of additional opportunities coming out of this pilot?
Yeah, so what's really neat about the pilot, well, maybe an unforeseen benefit of the pilot is the energy level and excitement around the transaction went up, and people's interest and kind of people coming out of the woodwork during the pilot of, I would love to do, so the first pilot focused on prescriber facing.
Okay.
People started saying, I would love to do a patient facing
nice.
pilot.
Yeah.
So a lot of people came out of the woodwork and started contacting us about, hey, can we do and initiate a pilot for patient facing?
And so that means the consumer or the patient would be able to check if the medication's available.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
There are multiple tech vendors and folks out in the industry that provide apps and even member portals and just any interface that a patient has into their health record.
Yeah.
If those systems can enable or could enable an inventory check. So, think about direct to consumer, think about your member portal to your benefit, your health plan or your PBM, and transferring your prescriptions from one to the other, those types of interfaces. If you as a patient, and the emphasis, ASTP is very focused on patient-centric type of healthcare, and many people are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the drive right now.
Yeah.
And the more that those systems are available and can put information, transparency to your point earlier, in front of the patient, so you not only know that you have been prescribed this prescription, and maybe you can then check to see what your cost is with your insurance company, real-time benefit check.
Yeah.
And then you can say, wow, the pharmacy that I want to go to actually has it in stock right now. I can go contact them, pick it up, have them deliver it, whatever the mechanism to access it. So it increases patient access. So lots of opportunity around the patient access side, and more to come on that patient pilot. But I think it's, I'll be optimistic again and idealistic. I think it's going to happen, and I think the industry is going to pull together to make something happen.
Oh, I think that's great. Yeah, I think that was the next use case that a lot of people were very, very interested in. So, all right, well, as we wrap up, any other thoughts on kind of moving some of this forward and,
I think just, NCPDP's support and the environment they create has been, it's been great. I mean, everybody is so engaged at the member level, at the staff level. The coordination with government, ASTP, has been so beneficial to raise awareness. It gets everybody to pay attention. I think those types of things continue to move things, create a catalyst for the industry to move forward and these transaction standards to drive forward.
Well, fantastic. Well, Brian, I appreciate everything. I know, it was great to work with you on this pilot, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how things move forward and progress on the patient side. So thanks for being here today. And
great. Thanks, Pooja. You're the best.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of NCPDP Unscripted. Thanks for joining us as we explore the voices and ideas driving innovation in healthcare. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or have topic ideas you'd love to hear us cover, we want to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and stay unscripted. Our podcast is proudly sponsored by Marks Productions.